Hello, I'm Marshall Masters. I'm the author of Crossing the Cusp, Surviving the Edgar Casey Pull Shift, and the publisher of Yowza.com, YOWUSA.com. Today is March 17th, 2013, and tomorrow I will appear on Coast to Coast AM with George Noory. What I look forward in discussing with George is an object we've titled Bluebonnet. We've been tracking it since early January. It's coming in from an unfiltered surveillance feed at approximately 10,000 feet on top of the Turrialba stratovolcano in Costa Rica. And my goal is to make a plea to anyone out there in earshot of my voice to pick up the phone or to email a friend and ask them to go to the nearby volcano to Turrialba, which is Irazu, and it's actually a little even higher up, but it's open to the public, whereas Turrialba is not. In our object of interest video we put up much earlier this year, we began showing folks a live feed from Turrialba of an object I've called Bluebonnet. And the reason why we are calling for independent on-the-ground observations from someone there in Costa Rica is that we cannot debunk the imagery we have. In fact, we have some 1,400 images and countless hours of video. We've been studying it since January. And we are not the only ones tracking an object that is uncatalogued and moving upwards from the southern skies below the ecliptic into the northern skies above, which is unlike the orbital path of any of the planets in our system. For those of you who follow this genre on YouTube, you're familiar with the 00 Skyview team. They have just published a new video in which they are telling us that in June 2013 we will see this massive object they have been tracking for some time with their own infrared equipment. It is important to note that we do not believe in our study we are observing the same object that the Skyview team is. They're focused on the dark star at the heart of the mini constellation that is approaching the core of our system, whereas Bluebonnet is more than likely one of the outermost satellites of that mini constellation. And if that is the case, then the object that I have dubbed Bluebonnet for the purpose of this study could actually be the blue Kachina of ancient Hopi prophecy, that is the harbinger of the much more destructive red Kachina to follow, which would likely be the Skyview team's object. In either case, what it means is the end of life as we know it. While we do not work directly with the Skyview team, they're very reclusive. I still, nonetheless, I like their work. I've mentioned them, and they have mentioned us. And in this case, if we can get somebody to go up to Irazu volcano to observe, hopefully, what I call Bluebonnet, which would be the outermost satellite of the object that they're tracking, then it's a two birds with one stone situation. That corroboration would be for us and for them as well. So I think this is really important on a broad scale. That being said, what am I really seeing out there? Well, what I see is this is a very emotional topic, and it doesn't matter whether you're extremely technical or illiterate in terms of the science. People come to it with fear. They see it, and the first thing they do is lock the closet, turn on the bedroom light, and crawl under the covers, pulling them over their heads, knowing that they're safe and sound, because if they can't see the monsters and the monsters can't see them, there's no harm, no foul. It sounds illogical, but that really is the way it is. And it's this very tendency that I'm seeing out there that is going to play directly into the hands of the government. And here is how. Because if Skyview and Yowza are not seeing ghosts, but the real thing, The day will come when people will want to know why they are the last to know, why the government has withheld the information from them. And when they do, what can the government say? We withheld nothing. This information has been on the internet, trouble-free, uninterrupted. You could have been monitoring this for years. You chose not to look, because we know, just as well as you know, that if you can't see it with your own eyes, you're never going to believe it. And assuming that does come to pass, and people come to me and folks like Skyview and say, "What do you think?" I'm just going to have to say the obvious, that yes, for the first time, the government is telling the truth. And I'll leave it on that note. So until the next time we meet, remember Marshall's motto: destiny comes to those who listen, and fate finds the rest. So learn what you can learn, do what you can do, and never give up hope. This is Marshall, and I'll catch you on the backside.